Fire up the throwaways. What's something that has happened to you that you wish you could tell your friends about but is too inappropriate? My mom got home as I was in the middle of a furious FAP session. I heard the garage door, went to quit Internet Explorer, this was a while ago, and the little crap just froze with boobs all over the place. I quickly tried to restart the computer, but that didn't work. WTF. I finally unplugged the power strip as my mom opened the door. There I am, in boxers, with the power strip in my hand and the computer is off. The first words out of my mouth were, "I don't know, weird huh?" I don't need a throwaway. I'm an introvert. That's part of the story. But when I was a college student commuting from home, I was on our computer and looking at, shall we say, not typical vanilla P and masturbating furiously. My little brother walked in on me. He looked at the computer, looked at me, just shook his head and said, "It's always the quiet ones," and then walked away. Broke me up laughing. Give your brother a high five for me. Not a throwaway. A few days ago I tried the Instead soft cup for giggles. You insert it and it catches your menstrual blood. It was going just fine. Until I tried to take it out. There's no string. You just push like you're trying to poop and reach up inside your vagina and slide it forward with your finger. Simple enough, right? Wrong. My cervix had the death grip on that tiny cup of blood. I tried so hard to pull it out but it simply wouldn't budge. I couldn't get a grip. My wrist ached. My lady flower felt bruised after an hour of trying to dislodge that sucker. Suddenly, I spotted a plastic coat hanger on the bathroom floor. I washed it with soap and water in the sink to prepare it for a clean extraction. I climbed into the bathtub with the clean hanger and sobbed uncontrollably. Hormones and general panic, clutching the hanger against my chest. Thankfully, I didn't have to use the hanger. I was able to pull the little chalice of utero givings out by the grace of the lady, muscles contracted by heaving sobs. I sloshed the contents of the cup everywhere and then laughed until I couldn't breathe. TLDR. I panicked because something was stuck in my vagina. Used a coat hanger to scare it out. That would have been hard to explain had someone walked in. I currently have poison oak all over my genitals. Had to pee on a hike. Must have transferred the oil during aiming. I became aroused when applying my ointment and popped all of my blisters with the erection. I once woke up in the middle of the night masturbating. Apparently, this is common for some guys to get so aroused they just start while they're asleep, whether it's sex or masturbation. Long story short, I fricked a container of chocolate pudding. The infamous Bill Cosby sleep fap. Not too long ago actually, I had to collect a stool sample for a medical appointment. The doctor gave me really little bottles to collect the samples in. The problems was that I really had to crap. So what was I to do? I then noticed that the sample bottles came with a medical paper towel. I did the only thing I could think of. I laid the sheet of paper in front of the toilet, gripped the lid for dear life, squatted down, and did my business. That's right. I shat on the floor. It felt so weird and terrible. It went against everything I've ever known to be civilized and true. I felt like an animal. I then had to stand up, turn around, and then push the limits of my sanity further. I had to get on all fours, like a dog, and use a plastic spoon to dissect my own crap and then store it in the little cups. I opened the door and left the bathroom with a feeling of total disgust. I feel like I lost a part of myself that night. But now I think the whole situation is hilarious. I hear my parents frick. Sometimes twice a day. Their bedroom is separated from mine by a wall. The first time, I was in shock. I'm used to it now. I think it's natural, but my friends find it traumatizing. They can't handle the thought that their parents might still be having sex. Hopefully once you get a significant other, you two can have sex back and it'll get into this absurd contest of screams and moans. Fun stuff. I one time sang every part of the entire Les Miserables original Broadway cast. It was this one time in my car every day. Please don't tell my friends. I'm a fairly cool 31-year-old man. Right there with you, dude. I can do the same thing with the London cast recording, because the cassette was stuck in the tape deck of my first car. I'm 33. Actually, I made up that thing about the cassette being stuck. I just freaking love Les Mis. I once got a handy so bad it gave my dong blisters. I got a STD test after to be sure, and yes, the girl was so bad she gave me dong blisters. DM. HS does not always apply, that crap was painful. My first handy felt like she was trying to start an outboard motor. I was so unbelievably disappointed. Frick throwaways. When I was 11, I brought myself to an orgasm using the vibrate function of my PS2 controller. I am a male. DM. Go. I'm pretty sure this isn't an uncommon thing. Male or female. Every kid explores their sexuality at some point, especially around that age. If the Wii has a vibrate function, I'm sure there's plenty of kids out there using it in unintended ways. I decided to stop by Taco Bell on my way home from picking up the Burning Crusade expansion the night it came out. Hours after finishing my Baja Blast, I had to take a leak. Being the lazy frick that I am, I figured the empty cup would be perfect. Of course, this backfired about an hour later when I, out of habit, reached for my cup and took a big swig of pee. I don't know how Bear Grylls does it. I have this one friend who I have known for a long time. Since elementary school, we are quite close. I gave her sex tips when she needed them. I pretty much can't tell her anything. Well, after the rest of our close friends moved away for school, we became even closer, and I would stay at her house a lot. Now, she is early to bed, early to rise, and would go upstairs and fall asleep pretty early. Her brother, however, was a night owl like me. I would have to sleep downstairs on the couch because her bed was not large enough for 2 people to sleep comfortably, and her brother and I would usually hang out for a while. She didn't have the best relationship with him. They argued a lot, but still loved each other like family, I suppose. Anyway, he and I knew each other from mutual friends at school, so we were pretty buddy-buddy with each other. I admit, I had a huge crush on him during this time, and this likely affected my judgment. He also has a foot fetish. This is no secret, however. He doesn't care if people know. His sister is the one who told me. Every so often he would get playful and tickle me, or something like that. We sort of half cuddled a few times. Nothing serious. One night I was laying on the couch with my legs stretched towards him and he began to give me a foot massage. I knew it was just because he liked feet, but what the heck, right? Well, one thing led to another, and he started to suck on my toes. Keep in mind, I do not have a foot fetish. I found this extremely arousing. However, he sucked on them for about 15 minutes, neither of us saying a thing the entire time. Neither of us has spoken a word about it. In case it wasn't clear, I'm a female. TLDR. My best friend's brother sucked on my toes and I liked it. I saw someone my friends and I went to school with in our jailbait. I don't want them to know that I was even looking there. Just tell them you saw it in GW. I grew up in a very small town, Pop, less than 500, in the middle of Missouri. Everyone in the town was Catholic. The priest was well loved by everyone, and more or less ran the town. He even took weekly tours of our public school and made suggestions to the superintendent that were heeded. This priest sexually abused me for a large part of my childhood. There is at least one other person that I am certain was abused also. I wish I could tell my friends so the casual rape jokes would stop, but I know that conversation would not go over well. The amount of casual rape jokes I hear on a regular basis is kind of horrifying. Honestly, I'm sorry you went through that. I hope things are better for you now. This one time I was taking a nice poop. Afterwards I would always use air freshener so it wouldn't smell so rank. This particular air freshener was one of those 100% citrus ones. So this time when I used it I sprayed a lot. Turns out when you spray enough of it on your skin it turns it into nice color of shiny bronze. Discovering this I then proceeded to take all my clothes off and cover my entire body in it and flex in front of the mirror like one of those weightlifters. I sprayed extra on my junk so I was extra sparkly down there. This turned out to be a very bad idea and my dong started to feel like it was being bitten by giant red fire ants for the next 4 hours. I ended up blaming it on message because we had Chinese that night at a lower quality place. I'm cross-posting this from another thread but I think it fits in here nicely. I watched pee like most kids and I would see the men ejaculating. So I was like, I bet if I jerk for long enough and hard enough I'll also produce milk. Yes, I thought I could make milk. So I jerked as hard and as fast and I could with a glass in my hand and came into the glass. Being proud of myself, I mixed it with regular milk and drank it. I did this a few times before I had sex ed, where I realized I was drinking my own sperm. TLDR, I drank my own sperm. I have a weird kind of pride right now for remembering this from before. I seriously need to get this off my chest. I met a guy online, and we got talking without sharing any details regarding age and location. He seemed pretty cool and intelligent, so we shared details, and it turns out he is 17 years older than me, and is in Afghanistan as an American soldier, but we still enjoyed talking to each other as friends. We exchanged Skype accounts, and started talking every night for hours on end. We got really close, and decided to share photos. He said I looked cute, and I thought he was pretty good looking himself. He kept on complimenting me and telling me what an awesome person I am, and vice versa. The things got more serious than just friendship. So it's been about a month or so that we're talking, and I think some feelings might have emerged as a result, and every night I worry something might happen to him. But he keeps in touch via email in case Skype isn't working. It's been about 5 days that I haven't heard from him. I know he wouldn't just ditch me because I know him too well. Did I mention he's 17 years older than me yet? Well, I'm a 17-year-old. Last week, my friend and I wanted some booze. One of our Spanish teachers was at the bar and we asked her if she would buy some for us. She was super drunk and told my friend that she wanted to frick him, but he pushed her away and said no. Now, there's a slow rumor going around that my friend and I double-teamed the Spanish teacher. One time when I lived alone, I was sitting on the couch naked watching TV. I was on my period at the time, so I had a tampon in. I farted and the string jumped. I laughed so hard, then I was sad because I couldn't tell anyone ever. Mine is strikingly similar. Once, I was in a Walmart and I sneezed so hard my tampon popped right out. It was very uncomfortable until I went to the bathroom and fixed it. I told this story to a few friends before, thinking it must not be too uncommon. Turns out it is. My girlfriend and I had Facebook notifications sent to our phones via text message, but the delivery was usually a little slow. That night, we had sex for the first time. Right after, her phone vibrated and read, "You have just been poked by cabbage." I, 21, male, had a threesome with one of my best friends, male, 36, and a co-worker, 17, female, in my basement, on my brother's bed, while my parents were upstairs eating dinner. I was also a virgin at the time. Talk about awkward. Throwaway. I had a really bad infection and was on all sorts of antibiotics and pain medications for over a week. In this time I became horribly, irrevocably, constipated. I mean, nothing. I started getting hemorrhoids. Awful hemorrhoids that were so incredibly painful that I would cry at the thought of crapping. A week goes by and at this point I stop eating. I didn't want to create anything else in my bowels. The discomfort is out of control. I go to the dog park with a close friend of mine who tells me I look grey. I confide in her what is going on and beg her to help me. She has worked in the past at a colonics place that she has the keys to. So here we are on a Sunday night. I'm hooked up to this colonics death machine that is in my anus and will not put water in because the tube keeps getting stuck in crap. Literally, it was like sticking a straw in a block of cheese. I am crying, hyperventilating. I mean, really, you start to go insane. I'm in so much pain and scared so much I just start begging my friend to do something. She tells me she's going to the drugstore to get an enema. She hands me a pair of rubber gloves and leaves. It's at this time that I start digging the crap out of myself. With the hemorrhoids and infection and all, I am crying on the colonics table digging bits of crap out of my anus. Do you know how bad crap that has stayed in you for over a week smells? Bad. I am sweating profusely, which is just mixing in with my hysterical tears and digging crap out of myself and saying the most ridiculous things. Oh god, please help me. I dig enough and get terrified enough that I just go to town in spite of the pain. Just ripping crap out and trying to push even though it won't budge. And then, all of a sudden my colon cramps and I run to the toilet where I literally explode the biggest baby arm of a crap and nearly ripped my butthole apart. It was like a freaking bomb. Though I was in the worst pain, I was giggling uncontrollably and euphoric that this crap was out of me. Couldn't sit straight for a week. I thank God every time I take a crap now. Whenever random numbers in my life coincidentally match parts of my PINs or SSN, I always get excited and realize I can never tell anyone. When I was a kid, I had this old Sears catalog under my train set in the basement and I used to take it out after school and kiss all the girls in the women's intimate section. My favorite with Carla. She liked me back, I could totally tell. But then the full catalog came out and I saw she cut her hair. It did nothing for her, so I had to change my favorite to Rita. At least she knew how to work it. About the time when I was 8 years old and awoke with burns after several dreamless and sleep paralysis filled nights. When I awoke, my leg was stinging with circular burns on the inside of my left knee. I went to the pathologist who took skin scrapings because my mom thought it was a bacterial rash, and the results came back as burnt tissue. The sleep paralysis lasted for about 6 years on and off. When I left the countryside and started living in the city, the paralysis episode stopped completely. There's never an appropriate time to discuss such topics. This type of talk is relationship destroying. I was recently on a 30-day juice fast, where I consumed nothing but juiced green vegetables. After about the 3rd day, my poo started turning a green color. After the 15th or so day, my poo was bright green, like a vegetable. I couldn't smell it though, so I wiped my bum and put the soiled toilet paper to my nose and got a little too close. I looked in the mirror and had a green spot on my nose. I was walking around Charlotte one morning at 3 AM after a long night, trying to find my dang car. A black woman rolls by 3 times before creeping up and asking where I'm going and if I needed a ride. I told her I was just looking for my car, and I think I'm good but thanks. Then she informed me she was gonna suck the heck out of yo dong. This is where that, is this crap really happening, popped into my head. Right before, am I getting in the car or getting the heck out of here? She was maybe a 4, and that's in the dark. Yay. I got in the car. DM, GBJ. Worked in an abattoir aka slaughterhouse, removing the innards, fat, eyes, etc. of sheep to get to their meaty goodness, usually 2,000,000 animals a day, to try to stave off the oh so certain craziness that had infected everyone there, and disassociate myself from the trauma of what I was actually doing. I would recite all the lines from The Return of the Jedi, all of them, even the alien's speech, and associated translations, and eventually the sound effects, maybe twice a day. So maybe, on second thoughts, the crazy got me anyway. Got a childhood friend, named D, who told me that his mom was a witch, and he could hear her through a crack in the wall as a kid. Those were some of the best nuts I ever had. D also only let his younger half brother play the PS1 if the kid simultaneously sucked his dong. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.